We're live on Facebook. Yay! Good morning, everybody. We'll start the radio show here in just a second, but
Great.
we are officially live.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Can you just bring your mic up a little bit?
Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
Yay! Good morning. Ryan Dickinson's here with us this morning. We got all kinds of good stuff to talk about.
Yay.
Yay! It's good stuff. All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 show. I'm your host, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. Each week we talk up to different people who live in the 425 and find out what makes living here so interesting, part of which is the people and the cool experiences that they've had. So we've got a great guest for you today, but first I want to do a little market update. You can see that in Facebook Live. Actually, you can't see anything, but we'll have it on the blog after the show, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Last week, I had told you that they were releasing the market sales data for the month from our MLS, and they came out with it. And let's see, East Side prices are up 5% from last year. Last year, the average sales price was $845. Right now, it's $890. And we have 2.5 months supply of inventory. And we've been used to, which is actually heading towards a balanced market. Balanced market is 4 to 6 months supply of inventory, which means if you took all of the homes that were on the market, you took the number of sales per month, and you average it out, how long would it take for all of that inventory to sell? That's what an absorption rate is and what gives us the month supply of inventory. So we've been at a month, which is exceptionally low, and drove all the prices up. Now we're at 2.5. We're headed towards that 4 to 6 range, which means buyers have more choices. They've got more time to make a decision, but it also means that for sellers, there's still stuff out there selling. So that was the East Side. Seattle, they also do. That is up 2%. Last year, the average sales price was $735. Now it's $750. So there you go. Again, you can always go to NicoleMangina.com/podcast after the show, and we'll have those charts there for you to be able to take a look at everything. But I want to chat with our guest today, Brian. Welcome, Brian. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. God, we've known each other a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I helped you guys with your first house and
the second
and
house.
the second house.
Which we're still in.
Yeah, exactly. You've got 2 beautiful kids.
Thanks. So do you.
Thank you. I know. I love Facebook. We don't see each other face to face very often, but I always get to see what you're up to, and saw the cute homecoming pictures with your oldest
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. That was adorable. So we'll talk a little bit about what you love about the 425 at the very end, but you're kind of a big deal.
No, I'm not.
You are a big deal. You're very modest about it, but we just had Veterans Day. You are a vet. You did a couple tours in the Persian Gulf, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And Navy search and rescue.
Correct.
You posted some videos over the weekend of some of the stuff you did. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
That was impressive. And then you decided maybe that wasn't enough in life, and you went out and climbed Mount Everest.
That's how it ended up.
There you
That
go.
wasn't necessarily the plan.
No, well, yeah, which I would imagine, right? But it became something that you did, and you wrote a book about it called Blind Descent. Again, we will have the information for this on the website after the show, because it's a fantastic book. I totally recommend people reading it, because it's about your experience. Climbing the mountain and summiting would have been interesting and a huge feat all on its own, but you had some really unique things happen to you when you were up there.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit? How did you get into this whole mountain climbing thing?
Well, I mean, no one ever said I was smart.
I think you're pretty smart.
Well, I think we're all wired differently.
Right.
And that's just how I'm wired. I grew up in Southern Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
like living in the mountains and just very adventurous.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, we didn't have all the distractions of Facebook Live and
Right. Hi.
everything else that's going on with the devices.
Yeah.
So, if good or bad weather, my parents were
yourself.
like, yeah, exactly. They're like, get outside.
Mhm.
So, just
Yeah.
understanding, growing up in that environment, it really shapes, certain individuals differently.
For
And
sure.
for me, it was all about adventure. And that's
Mhm.
why I went in the military. I had
Right.
opportunities to go to college right away, but
Mhm.
I wanted to go see the world, do something
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
So I was jumping out of helicopters and, doing that fun stuff in my early 20s.
Right. Yeah. And like into the ocean. I think jumping out
Mhm.
onto land, like parachuting, I think is crazy enough. And then you went into the ocean.
Right.
Nice
Yeah, I
work.
was a rescue swimmer,
Yeah.
combat search and rescue. So yeah, 2 tours in the Gulf. Got out got married to Joanna,
Mm-hmm.
and we moved up here back in 2001, and I think I was missing something in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That sense of adventure. We were in grad school, and just
Yeah.
working and being responsible and stuff. So
It's overrated.
yeah, I needed to kind of sidestep that for a while and
Uh-huh.
add some adventure in my life,
Mhm.
and just started climbing here. There's no shortage of adventures just in our backyard, which is
Right.
amazing. But stepped it up a little bit. Decided to
Mhm.
climb the highest peaks on the 7 continents,
Mm-hmm.
Everest being one of them,
Sure.
and there you have it.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. And did you have people here that kind of got you into that, or it just was something you just
Um,
started doing it and deciding
Yeah, I think
this is
there was.
this is my thing?
Yeah, I had some friends that I was climbing with, but that's a tough goal to really lock it down to like one or two friends,
Right.
because we all have busy lives, and
Yeah.
so I really had to own it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have been putting my success on someone else.
Right.
So, and that can be tough in life.
Yeah. That's like a tweetable. I'm not even on Twitter, but feels like something that's a big thing, because you're right. It's really about owning your stuff. So let's talk about this whole. So what are the 7 peaks, by the way? I know there's Kilimanjaro.
Yep, that's in Africa. So Elbrus, which is in Russia, it's the
Okay.
highest peak in Europe.
Okay.
Everest,
Okay.
highest peak in Asia and the world. Aconcagua, which is in South America.
Okay.
Denali, which is North America, up in
Okay.
Alaska, and I have not summited Denali,
Okay.
so I've been on it 3 times, snowboarded it once,
Uh-huh.
but made good decisions to turn around when it was kind of life or death. And,
Yeah.
So it might be one of those things that eludes me my whole life, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a lesson in itself, just being okay with that,
Right. I bet.
because you can just keep just going after something, and does it really matter?
Yeah.
So that'll be another podcast.
Yes.
But I am okay.
Yeah.
And down in Antarctica, it's Vincent Massif,
Okay.
and then Kosciuszko in Australia, which the whole family went and did with me.
Oh, really? That is awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's like 7,000 feet, like 5 miles, but
Okay.
yeah, it was cool.
It's a respectable hike for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and when you did Everest back in 2011, you said.
Yep.
Right. So tell us a little bit about what that was all about, right? I read the book, and then let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, Everest, it's a legit hike for sure.
Mhm.
At 29,035 feet,
Yeah.
it's the highest mountain in the world, but there's only a third of the air up there. So if you were to pluck your body from here in the studio, put you on the top, you'd pass out and die.
Yeah.
So it takes a month just to acclimate.
Right.
And base camp alone is actually 3,000 feet higher than Rainier.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so 38 miles on foot,
Wow.
and yeah, just getting to base camp is quite an accomplishment. And then from there, it's hiking up and down the mountain, so you have to acclimate. So what that does is it forces your body into oxygen-deprived areas, which your body will then produce more red blood cells, which
Mhm.
carry oxygen, so you can survive higher. So
Right.
it's a long process, super boring at times, lots of downtime. If you have a great family at home, it's a mental game. It's like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah, I bet.
Day over day, but you got to find that one reason just to keep going, because you can give up on goals all the time, but then that'll define who you are.
Right.
On the flip side, if you get summit fever, and you can die if you're not making good decisions. So
Mhm.
it is that balance in life. But yeah, so after a month of being there, I was fully acclimated. I'd
Mhm.
climbed another few peaks in the Himalayas in that time, and had a summit window.
Mm-hmm.
Went for it. Takes about 5 days from base camp to actually get in a position up higher on the mountain to then go for the summit.
Okay.
And there's only a few summit windows per year, just because it's so high up there. It's in the jet stream. The weather's just really, really horrible. So usually there's a lot of people that are in position to actually go for the summit. I was in a unique position where I was wedged right between people that were trying to summit the day prior, which
Mhm.
hit 70-mile-an-hour winds, so they were pushed back.
Oh wow.
And then the day I went up, it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So people were waiting for the next day. So I actually, just myself and Asang Sherpa,
Mm-hmm.
the two of us, were the only two attempting the summit from either side. which
Oh,
is
wow.
very unique. Like, it just never happens.
That just 2 of you go up at a
Mhm.
time? Because it's the whole safety in numbers thing, I would imagine,
Well,
to an extent.
and
you
it's
know?
about that weather window, so people are trying to really wedge it in on
Mhm.
those weather windows. I just happen to get my own weather window.
Got it, because that was kind of your assigned day and it just, everything lined up? Or?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah, so we're heading up, and you know, you go through the night, you climb through the night, because when the sun comes up, things become unstable,
Mhm.
because heat doesn't work well for metal conductors. You know, the anchors that are holding ropes to
Mhm.
the mountain that are fixed lines that I'm attached to as a climber.
Mhm.
So all through the night, about midnight or so, Pasang was getting sick, and we had a conversation at 28,000 feet. He decided he was going to head back down,
Mhm.
and I was going to continue up. So it's kind of one of those moments where you only have the information, you know, within 3 feet of you, within arm's reach. So you make these decisions that you can live and die by.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because once you're up there, it's not like you have, like, you don't really know where the weather's going once you're up there, right? You have to hope for kind of the best based on the decision you made,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
a couple hours prior.
And even prior, we didn't go for the summit until we knew what the predicted weather was. So
Got
we
it.
radioed down. They triangulated it to like Sweden and Seattle, and came back like.
Oh, wow.
it'll be-
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a system in place, but when you're on the mountain, it's how am I doing? How's Pasang doing?
Mhm.
You know, are we safe? He was actually going to wait where we were.
Mhm.
I was going to go up, come back down, and we were going to go down together.
Mhm.
That didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
You know, it's the death zone. There's, you know, at 26,000 feet and above, like if you cut your finger, it won't heal. There's just
Oh,
not
wow.
enough, there's not enough air to survive up there for long. So he wasn't feeling good. He made a decision. He went back to
Got it.
the
Did he
high
just
camp.
have like the flu or something, or altitude sickness, or who
Altitude
knows?
sickness.
Got it.
Yeah.
So even
So-
Sherpas get it.
Yeah,
You would
they're
assume
very
that
human.
they're-
Amazing people, but very human.
Yeah.
So I continued up. You know, we didn't think much about it.
Mhm.
You know, I've soloed lots of mountains. You know, got to the summit when the sun was rising. It was just one of those moments. Not only to just summit Everest like that in itself is just it's something I'll process the rest of my life.
I bet.
And in that moment, it's like trying to like I know I'm here. I only have so much time.
Mhm.
I'm like trying to like process it. I'm like I'm here, and you can't. It's too overwhelming.
I bet.
And then to be up there completely solo
Mhm.
is a whole nother thing. So, got a snack, got some water, took some selfies,
I
and
love it.
and made a radio call down. Let everyone know I was up there. I was alone. I was
Mhm.
heading down, and
How long can you spend up there? Like, what's your window?
an hour or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you can spend months getting up there, and then it's
Yeah.
very small.
Like your
small
literal
window.
15 minutes of fame. And
Mhm. So take lots of pictures because
Yeah.
you'll be staring at them the rest of your life and
Yeah.
reposting on Instagram. So I start heading down, and that's when everything went completely white. And what had happened is the day prior going up Lhotse Face, so you actually climb up the 4th highest mountain in the world,
Mhm.
Lhotse Face. It's just straight up for miles. My goggles had fallen and cracked,
Got it.
and I had ripped out an internal lens, and
Got
that
it.
apparently cut their effectiveness in half. That and being up in the death zone.
Yeah.
As soon as the sun comes up, having blue eyes and more susceptible,
Yeah.
fried my cornea, went completely snowblind,
Oh, wow.
and
So now you're up there, you're totally by yourself, and you can't see anything.
can't see anything. And with
Yeah.
snow blindness, it usually takes about 24 hours to come back.
Mhm.
I wouldn't regain my eyesight for about a month and a half.
Wow.
So it was super severe.
Were
And
they
it's,
worried that there was going to be permanent damage, I'm assuming, at some point? Or
Joanna was.
Yeah.
A little later. I had faith that I'd get my sight back. But it should have taken me about 3 hours to get to high camp. Took me 7.
Mhm.
So I ran out of oxygen, and pretty much just hand over hand just made my way down.
Was there a guide rope, or like how did
Yeah.
you figure out how to get back down then?
Yeah, so on Everest and Himalayan peaks and even Denali and others, there's sections where you have fixed lines, so it's
Mhm.
ropes that are attached to anchor points. So me as a climber, I can go solo because I'm attached to the mountain essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The problem on Everest is it's just dreadlocks of rope from years past.
Oh.
They don't clean it up higher.
Oh, okay.
So if you clip into the wrong one,
You can end up in the wrong spot.
yeah, and it's a literal 2-mile drop on each side of you when you're at the top.
Oh, oh.
So there's a small chance that you're not going to survive that.
Yeah.
But just had faith, just hand over hand, use my other senses.
Yeah, like what's going through your head as you're going through this? Like, are you praying? Are you
Yeah.
talking to yourself, or how are you getting yourself to
Yeah.
move forward through this?
Yeah, all of the above. So in the Navy, I mean, one thing I did, I was in oxygen deprived situations. You know, as a rescue swimmer, I was underwater, I was rescuing people.
Sure.
And a lot of it comes down to never panicking. Because the person you're rescuing is panicking. They see you as flotation, they're trying to take you down. If you both panic, then you both die.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, a lot of that came back. Just don't panic. Just figure out how to take one more step and use those senses. And I'm not normally blind, so I was really trying to use my eyes, and it hurts so bad. It's super bright. It's like if you put a light bulb within an inch of your face. It's like that bright. You cannot focus. You could move your finger, and you'd know something just moved. You
Right.
cannot focus. And then it feels like if you had like Doritos or something and broke them and put them in your eyeyelids.
Oh gosh, that's
And
what
you
it feels
realize
like.
just, yeah, how often your eyes actually move
Oh, sure.
the whole time. It's super painful.
Ouch.
But the whole time I'm going down, yeah, I was just in prayer and just really felt a presence around me. And I didn't think too much about it, but it was there. It's like if you close your eyes, you know I'm here.
Right.
You may not think too much about it, but it's like I feel something there. And
Yeah.
the whole time just continued down. Took a major fall, ran out of oxygen, and then at about the halfway point between the summit and high camp is when, you know, I'd been climbing like 33 hours continuous from that day prior, just completely wiped out, and ran out of oxygen, and at that point just dropped to my knees and just prayed, said, God, I can't do this alone. And just instantaneously just felt like someone like picked me up, just grabbed the back of my down suit and lifted me up. I just had this energy. Fumbled through an extra oxygen tank that I had that had previously failed, and it had a positive flow. And I remember just putting the regulator on it and just feeling the air and just taking like 5 deep breaths, and just the pain of the life re-entering my body. You know, it was just like burning through my veins, but
Wow.
didn't overthink it. Just put all my gear back on, started rappelling down like the last 20 pitches, trying not to trip over myself, and eventually made it into camp. Never saw Pasong coming. He came about a quarter mile across this ice field way up in the death zone there and just hugs me out of nowhere.
Aw.
I'm like, oh, he's like, Brian, you alive? And
Yeah, I bet they're worried about you.
Yeah.
Seriously. I remember Joanna posting actually when you were up there, like, it's a little quiet. We need some prayers.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that was powerful in itself, just the power of prayer.
yeah.
So many people reaching out and just this, you know, just lifting me up when I really needed it.
That's amazing.
Yep. So then I went to my tent, passed out for I don't know, like 15 hours.
I bet.
My eyes were glued shut. I lost 20 pounds, which I don't have, but
No, you don't.
it's just, yeah, just totally beat up. And then I still had to get down. It's still 2 more days just to get down to base camp, and
Yeah.
another 2 to get to where I could fly home. So I was pretty wrecked, but
Yeah.
super pumped to be alive.
Right. You're like, woohoo! So many things I'll never complain about again.
Yeah, it definitely gives you perspective for sure.
Yeah. Did they have medics up at that high camp? Like, did you get any medical attention, or it was just you got to get yourself down and
Yeah.
figure it out from there?
Yeah, I remember someone giving me like some ointment, like put this in your eyes, and I had someone else read it for me, and it says, "Do not put in eyes." So I'm like, I'm good. But I was definitely, you know, I was just happy to be alive, and just a lot of tears. I think that helped. And then I got to base camp, and there is a medical tent. It's like if you walk in the door, it's like $100. Like that's how they make their money or whatever. But I'm like, hey, I'm not paying.
Oh, are you
Joanna,
serious?
I was able to talk to Joanna, and she's like, go and get in there. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh,
So then I hiked 2 more days out. And,
really?
Yep. And then flew to Bangkok, where I'd stayed a night. And that was the first time where like my right eye was started coming back a little bit. And
Yeah. How did you even navigate the travel? I mean, I'm assuming getting
Just,
down Pasong got you down, right?
to a certain extent, then another person helped me.
Yeah, but now you're in like international airports
By
and
myself,
flights and
too,
stuff.
yeah. So
By
everything was
yourself,
just-
and you can't really see anything.
Yeah, it's super blurry, and it was Bangkok, so I'm a lot taller than the average person. So I'd just be walking down, poof, like
Oh.
just bumping into people. I'm like, I'm sorry. And
That's rude American.
I know, totally. Like, I'm sorry. Like I must have looked just horrible, like black
Yeah.
eyes and just like, even more disgustingly skinny than I am right now. But
That's amazing. So that's a really cool story.
thanks.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's so powerful, for sure. And I'm sure you're an inspiration to everybody else. Did those other teams end up summiting Everest or no? Did they make it up? No. I don't think so.
I mean, some did, but
Yeah.
some did not.
Yeah. I'd imagine you were an inspiration to everybody on that mountain during that whole
No,
time.
I think people saw me and they're like, gosh.
Some people may have turned back, but that's
Looks
okay.
rough up there.
Yeah. So that's really cool. And such a powerful story about, like you said, really following your dreams and making smart decisions, because you have to do a lot of that on the mountain and doing all of that, for sure. Cool. And that's awesome. And you've come back. Have you done any big climbs since?
Yeah. I have been around the world
Yeah.
climbing and even
I love
later
that.
that year. So I mean, I wasn't sure if I would again. You know, it's one of those things
Right.
like, should this some sort of sign? You know, anyone who doesn't climb would be like, yeah, you're a moron.
Yeah. And you have a wife and, children, so you've got to decide, okay, what's the right thing
Right.
for the whole family.
Yeah,
right?
but actually getting back on the mountain was the most therapeutic
I
thing.
I
Because
bet.
I went through a lot of PTSD, and even now, like if I get on stage and I'm talking, I mean, I've gotten better at it, and I've talked so many times.
Mhm.
But it's emotional. It's a
I
tough
bet.
thing.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time to be here today
Yeah, of
to share
course.
the story, because it really is amazing. Where did you climb after Everest?
Locally, I did a few peaks here,
Uh-huh.
but then went to Antarctica later that year.
Okay.
Climbed the highest peak down there.
Cool. What's
Yeah.
that like to climb in Antarctica?
It was -70 on the top.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Cool is accurate.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly. It's amazing though. Antarctica is like, if you can ever go, you
Yeah,
should.
I've heard it's beautiful. Do you have to do the whole boat thing to get there, the Drake Passage, or did you fly in? Or
We flew
helicopter
in. So I was down in Chile,
Uh-huh.
Punta Arenas, the southern tip of Chile, for like a week because weather was so bad.
Mhm.
So I rented a car and went up to Patagonia and climbed like Torres del Paine. Just
Okay.
slept in the car and was just like dirt bagging
Awesome.
it. It was so cool. And it's one of the coolest places. And what's funny is it looks just like here, like in the North Cascades, but
Oh, does
because
it?
it's there, it's like, oh, it's cool.
It's different.
It's Patagonia.
More exotic.
But yeah, then we flew a Russian Ilyushin airplane, and it's crazy because it's got like, like anyone who goes to Antarctica is there for a purpose.
Right.
It's not like you just show up.
Yeah.
So you have scientists, and you have climbers, and you got people doing the South Pole, and
Mhm.
National Geographic was there. I think it was for Discovery. Whoever did the Frozen Planet,
Mm-hmm.
they were there. So we were like watching the raw footage, like in the tents
Oh,
and
that's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, before it came out, it was cool. But yeah, it's amazing. But that airplane, it's 5 hours. You either land or you don't, because you're landing right on the glacier, and it's like.
Oh, really?
And if it's like bad condition, they'll just take off, and you're heading back to Chile.
Really?
But we landed, and it's like all warm. We're hanging out cozy, and they
Mhm.
open the door. And you're like, ah.
You're like, I can't breathe, I can't blink.
It is. It's the biggest desert in the world.
Yeah.
It's just ice desert.
Yeah. How long did that take to do that climb?
A couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
How high is that?
It's like just under 17,000.
Okay.
But because it's kind of like Denali with the barometric pressure,
Mhm.
because it's so low down the South Pole,
Right.
tack on like 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
Oh,
So
got it.
It feels like that.
Got it.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It's so cool.
That's very cool. What a neat way to see the world, but different parts of the world too.
Mm-hmm.
The South Pole is definitely on my list, and Antarctica just because it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool. And you've brought that back. You've kind of instilled it in your whole family, right? You guys go out and do a lot of hikes and
Mhm.
camps and stuff like that. You said your son's really into the climbing and things as well.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Emily's more into like, we'll go up to like Camp Muir or something on
Mhm.
Rainier, and
Mhm.
their favorite thing each year is winter mountaineering.
Oh yeah, you always post cool pictures of that. You
Yeah,
guys go out
they
and
love
camp.
it.
And, do they?
Yeah, and Joanna's like, all right, you.
Does she go or
no? No.
She'll pack your lunch and off
Yeah,
you
and
go.
then that's you got a weekend, you do this. Like
Mhm.
anytime she has like, if she's traveling or anything, I'm just like, oh, adventure.
Uh-huh.
Like this year, Emily and she went to DC for the 8th grade trip.
Oh sure. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, what can we do? So Jordan and I went and climbed Mount Whitney
Okay,
down in the Sierras.
that's
So
awesome.
it's like, oh, adventure. Let's head
Yeah,
out.
I think that's such a cool thing to do with your kids. To teach them about that, because you're right, I think we are way too screen obsessed in our world. So to give your kids that experience, I think is just cool. And then I'm always about time, right? Especially with your kids.
Mhm.
It's the whole quality versus quantity. I think it's really more about the quantity. The quality comes from the quantity.
Mhm.
You can't get quality time with your kids of like, okay, I got 15 minutes tell me how your school day was, right?
Mhm.
You need to do something where there's limited distractions and you're just out there spending time together.
Right.
And that's when cool stuff happens.
You're probably reaching that point where we are, where just to imagine them like being in college and not
Yes.
in a house, like how depressing is that going to be?
Oh, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
In fact, Alex is 14, so he has really almost a solid 2 years before he can drive because he's a young 14.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's saying, oh, you'll love it when they can drive themselves around. And yeah, logistically it'll be nice, but anymore that's kind of the time we get with him, right?
Right.
Is driving him to different
Mhm.
things. So, I'm sure it'll be nice, and I'll be posting something on Facebook about, woohoo, look at what I'm doing with all my free time. But I actually think I'm going to miss it too,
Yeah,
because that's
same.
our time together, right? So it's not even the full 4 years left of high school. It's really like 2.5, and then
Yeah.
they're off doing other things.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't think of that. I was
Oh.
thinking the actual
Yeah.
chore. Now I'm super depressed.
Oh, sorry. Glad I could
Appreciate
help.
that.
Well, the other option is that they just don't get a car.
There you go.
And you don't let them get their license, which, we may go that way.
Yeah.
Do you have your winter camp planned for this year? Where are you guys going this year?
No. Last year we were up on Rainier.
Mm-hmm.
The year before we went just out east and just kind of found. It's crazy because like there's a lot of snowmobilers
Oh, sure.
out east and didn't realize that. We're spending half the day and it gets dark at like noon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to figure out spots and then it's like, you know what? Let's just hike this way forever and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's part of the adventure too.
Yeah.
Just out there cruising and get like 2 tents, a cooking tent or our sleeping tent. And
Right.
it's like 0 degrees and they're loving it. They come home and
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet they have
Jordan's
some
just
cool
like-
stories.
yeah, it's like, was it freezing? Yeah, but we loved it.
She's like, well, I stayed here with a fire, and
Yeah.
good for you guys. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, Brian, and for sharing your story. It's pretty powerful. I'm going to make the kids listen to this with all of your goal setting stuff.
Okay.
I think you're going to mention my kids, whether you know it or not. Again, the book is Blind Descent. Brian Dickinson is here with us today, and we'll have all of this on the website after the show because it's a fantastic read. It's such a powerful story. Brian's a great storyteller. He's got some really good stuff in here. We'll have it on the website, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye. Bye.
Perfect. All done.